There's a story in Florida that no one is really telling. It's a story largely unseen. The people in this story are not completely innocent. They did something wrong. They broke the law. And in the eyes of society, at least, they deserve to pay a price. But after they serve their time, they face a world that no longer wants them. A world that often leads them right back to the very place that makes them worse: prison. Tonight, we will hear from a man who spent decades in that cycle and the local ministry now on a mission to break it, plus the former Florida lawmaker who's now spotlighting this problem, not with politics, but with the cold, hard facts.
All right.
Tell me your story.
I fell into what they call the down spiral of life.
For Edward McCardy, that downward spiral began after his knee operation. First came the pain meds, then the addiction.
That welcomed me into a door that I shouldn't have never went into, but in all, it just transformed me from the person that my people knew I was, family members knew me as, into somebody they didn't recognize.
His family started to drift away as he fell further into a life of crime.
And then after my license got suspended, the drugs came involved, and so I say maybe 20 times.
20 times?
Yeah.
In and out of prison?
In and out of prison.
At the end of the day, the very people who are behind those razor gates, these are mothers, these are fathers, these are somebody's children. You talk about the elderly population, these are somebody's grandparents.
Robert Blunt is the president of Abe Brown Ministries, a Tampa nonprofit dedicated to breaking the cycle of incarceration. They offer former inmates everything from job training and education to mental health services, even transitional housing. What are you trying to achieve?
So the cornerstone of what we do is we go into the prisons and we share the gospel. That's the cornerstone of what we do. But in that message is a message of hope, right? And so it's one thing to go inside and deliver this message of hope. It's a whole nother beast to be able to complement that message of hope with tangible opportunities for people to live out their freedom in society.
Results. The kind of results that Ed McCardy is already seeing. He tells us he's learned more in the past 2 months at Abe Brown Ministries than he did during his entire 2 decades in and out of jail.
People get the misconstruing that prisons is better for people, and it's not. It's really not. You know what I'm saying? You send a man to prison for the extended time that I went for 15 years, you know what I'm saying? It's if the man don't want to change, I don't care if you give him 100 years, he's not going to change. But prison is not there to help you. It's actually there to keep you housed. It's like a housing facility. It's not actually prison. Like people think they are, rehabilitation, so they're giving you all kinds of, they're not doing that in there.
The numbers back that up. According to the Florida Policy Project, a new nonpartisan think tank launched by former state senator Jeff Brandes, more than 90% of the 82,000 people incarcerated in Florida prisons will eventually return to our communities. Over 60% of those people released will be rearrested within 3 years. The report offers 6 evidence-based solutions to reduce recidivism: employment programs, education, addiction treatment, mental health assistance, staying connected with family, and transitional housing. If all that sounds expensive, consider the cost Florida taxpayers already pay to maintain its aging prison system: $2.4 billion last fiscal year alone, and billions more in the near future. The mission of the Florida Policy Project is to objectively inform state lawmakers about the problems Florida is facing, to help them make better policy decisions, and to pass laws that are based on facts, not politics. How do you get lawmakers to buy into this? I mean, these are facts that you're presenting that are objective, that are based on reality. We live in a world now where it seems like facts are being reframed and everyone has their own truth. Can you get both parties to come together and see something completely objectively and say, okay, this is a problem, here are some solutions?
Well, I think, first of all, I think there is complete bipartisan support for some criminal justice reform activities. And I think that's an important point. But secondly, what I'm showing to them is just best practices. Mm-hmm. We're showing best practices that show better outcomes. Now, if they choose to ignore that, then they're simply putting the public at a safety risk.
For Ed, his journey back to a productive, crime-free life is just beginning at 58 years old.
And right now, the person that you see sitting before you is a man that's been broken down, remolded, and transformed into something that actually is better, you know what I'm saying, than I was when I went in.
Where do you see the rest of your life going?
My dreams are simple. You know what I mean? I want to be, you know what I'm saying, looked about as back as my families used to look at me. You know what I mean? The way they looked at me before. I don't want to be looked at as a person they can't trust, and now I'm getting that.